Hello. It's good to see you. Today we're going to read some more of my story, and I'm going to be doing something a little different that I have not been doing up until this point. I have a little red pen here, and because as I've been reading, every now and then I'll spot a typo or something that's not quite right. And sometimes when I pause for a second, it's because I've spotted something that just doesn't read right, like there's a word that got left out or something's wrong. And I'm catching little stuff because I reread it just recently, but I'm still catching little stuff that I didn't catch before. So what I want to do is I want to start circling and marking that stuff so I can go into my version of this, my electronic version, and I can make the changes. And then once we finished reading it, replace the uploaded copy on Amazon with this, the edited copy with the typos taken out and everything. So. And even reading it, I probably won't catch everything, but I may be marking stuff every now and then. I'm just going to set it there. Let's hope I don't catch a whole lot, because I'm starting to feel really bad because I've seen quite a few typos. I'm going, how did I miss that? I don't know. Well, it's almost 800 pages, 780, I think. So, and it's like this, it's 780 pages like this. So, I mean, that's a lot of words, and it's very easy to miss stuff. And I did reread it kind of in a hurry because I wanted to get it ready. Okay, enough of that. Stop talking. Okay, so we're going to start today with chapter 50, and we're still on part 1. And the chapter numbers will restart when we get to part 2, but we have a ways to go. Okay. So if you see me marking, I'm just marking a typo or something. All right, chapter 50. He watched Liddy go upstairs before sitting back down with the turtle. If only she knew, he whispered to the turtle, who looked up at Aiden with unblinking, round little eyes. Liddy opened the closet and started grabbing green shirts. She studied one for a moment and then tossed it on her bed. What weather are we dealing with today? She muttered to herself. Ultimately, she chose to dress in layers, a light green thin cardigan paired with a dark green tank top, green fabric belt with blue jeans, green argyle socks, and green and brown striped flats. With fall coming, they'd already had a few crisp days. Layers just made sense. She slung a sage green jacket over her shoulder and headed back downstairs. Now don't laugh, she said before reaching a point where Aiden could see her. Why would I do that? Because I look like somebody's grandma. This just is not the coolest outfit I've ever put together, but by golly, it's green as hell. Come on around the corner and let me see. Okay, but don't laugh. Aiden looked her up and down and smiled. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you look awfully cute. Oh, I do not, but thank you. Do you mean cute like a cute old lady? No, just plain cute. I like your shoes. You just need these. Aiden reached behind his back and produced a green sequin magician's hat out of thin air. Try it on. Liddy put on the hat and glanced at herself in a nearby mirror. Ah, nice. What about you? What are you wearing? You can't go in a suit, you know. Aiden looked down at his clothes, then back at Liddy. We should probably dress similarly, he said. Excuse me. He went into the downstairs bathroom and closed the door. Just a moment. You don't have anything in there, Liddy said through the door. I'm a magician, remember? He reemerged wearing a green button-down shirt, green pinstripe pants, a green jacket, and green suede loafers. Liddy crossed her arms, stared at his clothes, and grasped frantically for the right words. Wow. You're definitely... It's green, all right, but it should be more... I don't know. If you're doing a magic show, shouldn't it be more flashy? Check this out, he said. He flipped the inside of the jacket out to reveal a full lining of green sequins. It's reversible. I can change it at showtime. Nice. Yours is the same. She checked the inside of her cardigan. Huh! How'd you do that? Never mind. Ah, I love it. Well, we have to match. So what do you say? Are you up for a turtle party? I guess. I'm not likely to go anywhere else dressed like this. He picked up Wally. Let's go. Do we need to stop and get anything? No. It's all ready, isn't it? Yes. That's still weird to me, but okay. You'd think I'd be used to it by now. Do you want to do some setting up? No. I'm nervous about this whole magic show thing. Why? It'll be very informal, I promise. Just something fun for the kids. Nothing crazy? No. Well, define crazy. Aiden. I'm kidding. Come on. He nestled Wally in the crook of his arm, took Liddy by the hand, and they were off. The weather was perfect for an outdoor party. Aiden parked his Corvette in the parking lot near the playground, and Liddy got out first. Man, this place never changes. It's a shame. I live 20 minutes away, but I never come here. Huh. It's been several years since the last time I came out here. I just drive right on by. Aiden came around to her side of the car just as a group of children ran past, gift bags flailing in the air as they ran. A piece of green tissue paper flew out of one of the bags and fluttered to the ground not too far away as the children ran, heading for a bridge just past the playground. Liddy picked up the tissue paper and smoothed it out on her leg. She began absent-mindedly folding it in fourths as she watched the kids. Several adults lumbered along after them, half-heartedly calling out and telling them to slow down. They're here for the party, aren't they? Liddy asked Aiden. I believe so. They're headed in the right direction. Should we get going? I think we should. They walked past the playground, and Liddy noticed that the nearby children had stopped running around. She gestured to them after getting Aiden's attention. What's going on with that? Aiden looked over at the children and smiled at them. They all smiled back and waved at him. One started to approach. It's the turtle, Aiden whispered to Liddy, and he held Wally up so the kids could see him better. Within moments, Aiden was surrounded by curious little hands, all reaching for Wally to pet him. They had so many questions. Come see our magic show, Aiden said, pointing to the bridge at the edge of the tree line. It's just over there, near the big wind chimes. Liddy watched uneasy as a line of little kids formed behind them as they walked. Really? She whispered to Aiden, looking back at their happy little faces. You really think this is appropriate? What about all these kids' parents? Are they cool with their kids wandering off in the woods with strangers? It's okay, I promise. Like the damn Pied Piper. It's really bizarre. Aiden laughed. Just go with it. This is going to be fun. Just as they reached the middle of the bridge, Liddy looked over the side. Oh, I would have loved to play in a creek like that when I was a kid. Imagine all the crayfish down there. Aiden shifted Wally over to one side and took Liddy's hand with his free one. A little girl behind them snickered. Ooh! Liddy held on to Aiden's hand, smiling but looking away. Chapter 51. That setup was a sight to behold, let me tell you. It looked like something you'd see in a movie, like there should be a whole crew of people out there just to operate everything, but no. It was all set, big and fancy, giant stage and all, just waiting for us to arrive. We spotted Amber and her niece over by the ice cream stand. They're early, Aiden said to me when he saw them. That's fine. I just hope Jerry arrives soon. I told him to get here as early as possible. It has to look like he's in charge. Otherwise, what's the point? I said. Exactly. I've never known anybody to have an event like this at the Arboretum, I said. Do they normally allow stuff like this? I could see maybe doing a little informal party in the playground area, but this, I looked around, this seems to cover a pretty big area. Aiden pointed back in the direction we just come from. I saw a little fenced-off section that I hadn't noticed before. In it were several enormous tortoises. I gasped and went over to them. Are these those big Galapagos Island turtles? I reached over the fence and touched the shell of the closest one. They feel, I don't know how to describe it, prehistoric. Aiden set Wally down in the enclosure, and he scrambled off toward a pile of lettuce. "These are my buffer," he said. "Anyone approaching with a complaint is bound to pass by here. How can you go past this pen and remain angry?" "Some people are pretty ornery," I said. "I don't think even these guys could calm them down." "These aren't your ordinary everyday turtles," Aiden said. "I know, but watch." A woman swinging a tiny pink backpack came stomping across the bridge. She was looking around everywhere. Aiden waved at her. "Can I help you, ma'am?" The lady snatched her sunglasses off and pointed them at Aiden. "Are you in charge?" "I'm the one who's responsible for all this, yes." "Well, who do you think you are?" she said, coming closer. "Who told you that it was okay?" She stopped just as she reached the tortoises. Her backpack and sunglasses fell from her hands, and she stood there for a moment, staring at the turtles like she was trying to reclaim a lost thought. A big smile broke out on her face, and she started chuckling and whispering to one of the turtles. I watched in amazement. Are these tortoises really that cool, or did you enrich them somehow? Not enrich, enhance. I was flustered. What did you do? "Everybody loves big tortoises," Aiden said, and then he leaned in and whispered, "Especially the ones I make." "Are you saying they aren't real?" "They're real enough. Come on, let's go see who else is here." The lady had already perched on the fence and was feeding lettuce to one of the tortoises when we walked away. "Is she going to be okay?" I asked Aiden. He glanced back at her. "She won't cause us any more problems." "No, I mean she could fall in there and get hurt." "She'll be okay, Liddy. I promise." He pointed to the walking trail up ahead. "I wonder if anyone has come in this way." "That'd be the long way around, but yeah, I guess." "It's longer but easier with anyone with accessibility issues," Aiden said. "Or anyone who wants to see the lovely rose bushes over there." "Should we be looking for Jerry? He's the main guy at this party. I mean, it's basically for his benefit." "We're killing two birds with one stone," Aiden said. "We're just seeing who's here." We took another bridge over the winding creek and approached the rose garden. On the slate walkway, we saw a sundial. "I've never known how to tell time with these things," I said, walking around it and trying to read the stuff on it. "Time," Aiden said with a sigh. "My best-selling product." He took a minute to explain the sundial, but I was too distracted by the archway up ahead on the walkway. The yellow and pink roses blooming on it were so beautiful. I started to ask how the heck they were even blooming so late in the season when I heard someone call my name. It came from up ahead, but I couldn't see who it was. I gave Aiden a look. "Who is that?" I whispered. He smiled. "Let's go see." I heard my name again and my heart leapt. "Grandpa!" My grandfather came out from the side of the archway and wrapped me up in a big hug. It was warm, but I knew to be gentle. You can't manhandle people in their mid-80s. "Oh my gosh," I said, stepping back to get a look at him. "What are you doing here? I heard your voice and—" "We're here for the party," he said. "We? Is Grandma here too?" He smiled faintly. "Of course. She wouldn't miss it for the world. Let me just go get her." "I'm surprised." Grandpa went back to the little area that he'd come from a minute ago. It was still under a section of the canopy, and the walkway extended out that way too. He re-emerged, pushing Grandma in her wheelchair. "Well, look who's here," I said softly, and I bent down so Grandma could see me beneath the brim of her floppy sun hat. She gave me a vacant stare, then looked up at Grandpa. "It's Liddy, honey," he said to her. "Looks like Are you here for Katie's party?" he asked. "I am." He turned back to Grandma. "She's here for the same party we're here for." Grandma nodded but didn't really seem to understand. I put my hands on my hips and looked around. This is just weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy to see y'all, but how? Y'all don't live anywhere near here. How do y'all know the people at this party? Grandpa lifted his ball cap and wiped his forehead. It's a small world, I guess. See, Katie's grandfather is one of the pastors at our church. He's been visiting us a lot since Sylvia's Alzheimer's diagnosis. His own father had Alzheimer's, and he knows how tough it can be on a family, so he visits and helps out as much as he can. It's been a real blessing. He lightly placed a hand on Grandma's shoulder. He thought a day out would do us both some good, so we rode up here today with him. I looked over at Aiden with a mixture of suspicion and weird, goofy happiness. Isn't that something? I said. Aiden looked like he was trying not to smile. Small world, he said. You haven't introduced us to your feller here, Liddy, Grandpa said. My feller? Oh, no, but this is Aiden. We're old friends. Very old friends, Aiden said as he shook my grandfather's hand. That was a weird thing to see, like a crossover of your two favorite TV shows. Aiden Gervais. And you are? Warren Roberts. Any friend of Liddy's is a friend of mine. Aiden. Why does that name sound familiar? Have we met before? Aiden looked puzzled. I don't think so. He stared at Grandpa hard. No, we've never met. We've never met, Grandpa repeated. He then blinked for a minute like he was lost in thought. Did you just short-circuit his brain? I whispered harshly to Aiden. He stood there staring at Grandpa. Grandpa snapped out of it. Hey, we were about to go to the lemonade stand over there. Would you two like anything? Grandma raised her right hand a little, and we heard her say, I want to stay here. How about we stay here with... Aiden paused and then bent down and laid his hand on Grandma's arm. She instantly sat up straighter and looked right at him. I'm sorry, Aiden said to her. I didn't catch your name. Sylvia, Grandpa and I said in unison. Aiden never took her eyes off her. Sylvia, he said softly, and she took off her sun hat. He knelt down in front of her wheelchair and kissed her hand gently. It is a pleasure to meet you. You're so beautiful, she said to him. Tears welled up in her eyes. You're just radiant. Grandpa and I stood there watching the two of them, mesmerized. That's the most I've heard her say in weeks, Grandpa whispered to me. Your friend really has a way with people. Oh, yeah, I whispered back. Without looking back, Aiden said, Warren, Lydia and I can stay here with Sylvia if you'd like to go get some lemonade. Okay. Do y'all want any? We both said no, thank you. All right, I'll be right back. I watched him walk away and then turn back to Aiden and Grandma. It was weird but oddly calming the way they were just gazing at each other. I knelt down beside Aiden and whispered, Does she know what you are? Grandma looked at me surprised. Of course I do, Liddy. I may be old, but I'm not blind. I gasped. Grandma, do you know me? Hold her hand, Aiden said, and I did. I noticed that he had a hold of her other hand. It was an electric feeling, like we were jumper cables hooked to a battery. Grandma smiled and looked back and forth at the two of us. I'm so glad to see that you finally found someone, Liddy, and he's so handsome. You two look so happy together. Oh, Grandma, we're not... Thank you, Aiden said. Grandma squeezed my hand. It's so good to see you, Liddy. So good. She never questioned me being there at the party, and it never occurred to me to explain it. Everything just flowed like a dream, unfolding in its own way, and you accept it without issue. I gestured to the flowers on the trellis overhead. Look at these roses, huh? Aren't they beautiful? She looked up at them and smiled. They are so lovely. And it's a lovely day, too. Aiden, did you order up this weather just for the party? Aiden's eyes widened a bit, and he let out a surprised laugh. Oh, of course! He glanced over at me and winked. I wanted everything to be perfect. The three of us fell silent for a moment. Aiden and I were still kneeling down in front of the wheelchair holding Grandma's hands. In my mind, I heard Aiden say, "Ask her anything." It had been years since he'd done that talk to me in my head thing. It felt weird and tingly, like my brain itched. I wasn't altogether fond of the feeling. "Grandma," I said, shifting my weight a little to be more comfortable, but not letting go of her hand. Aiden held on too. She smiled. "Yes?" I want to ask you something, but I don't want to upset you. You know you can ask me anything." "Okay, I'm just asking because, well, I don't know why, but here goes. Are you afraid of dying?" Her smile faded and she nodded slowly. "I don't have long," she said, turning to look at Aiden as she said it. "Do I, Aiden?" Aiden cleared his throat and shuffled a bit on his knees. "Well, it's okay," she said, and her pretty smile came back. "I know who you are. I know what you are." He started to move back. "Don't," I said. "Stay right there." "Grandma, what are you saying?" "I feel his power. I know what he's here on earth for. He has a purpose here." "Aiden, have you not told her that? You need to be honest with her. Aiden abruptly stood up and let her hand go. Like unplugging a lamp, Grandma's eyes clouded back over, the dementia covering her like a veil. Her body slumped a bit in the wheelchair. Instinctively, I prepared myself to catch her, but she didn't fall forward. She slouched there, staring blankly at the space in front of her. I stood up. "Why'd you do that? Get back down there and hold her hand, or do whatever it was you were doing to let her speak. What was she talking about?" Aiden backed away from Grandma and me like we were strangers. He looked around for a moment. "I can handle this." "I can." Grandpa returned with some lemonade. "Sheesh, that line was a mile long." "Oh well, what do you expect when there's free lemonade?" He stopped talking once he picked up on the weird vibe. "What did I miss?" He looked down at Grandma and gasped, seeing the change in her demeanor. Handing me the lemonade, he bent down and put her sun hat back on. "Sylvia, dear, we probably need to find you some shade." He got behind the wheelchair and started pushing it down the stone path. "It's too bad she wasn't lucent longer. It looked like y'all had a good conversation for a minute or two there." "Oh well, you take what you can get." "Where are you going?" I asked. "I'll take her over there in the shade of those big trees, over there across the road near the wind chimes." "Excellent choice," Aiden said. "We'll be doing our magic show there shortly. I'll make sure you two have a front row seat." We watched them cross the road, and I turned to Aiden. "You can handle what?" You told me to ask her anything." "What?" "That in-my-head talking thing you used to do. You did it again just a minute ago and told me to ask her anything." "Liddy, I have no idea what you're talking about." "Are you saying you didn't do that? That I'm hearing things?" "No, but what? It wasn't me." We both stood there staring at each other, confused. "Am I crazy?" I finally asked. "No." He put his hands on my shoulders and looked into my eyes. "Not at all. It was probably just the shock of seeing your grandparents here. I guess I should have told you in advance that they were going to be here, but I wanted it to be a surprise." "Ha! Well, it damn sure was that." "I'm so sorry." "Don't be. It was really a great surprise." "But, so you're saying you definitely didn't do the in-my-head thing and tell me to ask her anything?" "Absolutely not." "Okay. Well, who was it then? Because if it wasn't somebody, I'm going crazy. It's one or the other." "You're not crazy," he said in my head, and I stepped back from him. "Stop. Okay, that was you saying I'm not crazy." He smiled that devilish grin. "Yes, and I suggest that we get on over there." He held out an arm, and I hooked my arm into his elbow. "Let's go make some magic," he said. Chapter 52. The walk across the way to the stage was a tense one for Aiden, though he'd never let Liddy know. He clenched his fist over and over again as they walked, going over the scene with Sylvia in his mind. Why couldn't at least one of his surprises for Liddy go as planned? He looked around the stage as they approached. Everything seemed fine. Maybe this will work, he thought. Just to see a smile on her face would make it all worthwhile. Amber and her niece came up and walked alongside Aiden and Liddy. Everything is so great, she said. And is Jerry here? I wanted to thank him for doing all this. He's almost here, Aiden said. I believe he's pulling into the parking lot now. You know Jerry, he's such a perfectionist. He had a few last-minute details to work out before arriving. Aiden looked into Amber's eyes. He really cares about you. Oh, I know. I just wish he could express himself better. He may not mean to, but sometimes he can come across as kind of a jerk. Ha, Liddy snorted. You could say that again. Aiden squeezed her arm. Ooh, Katie called out. She let go of Amber's hand and ran toward the stage. What did she just see? Amber wondered aloud. Aiden said, looking straight ahead as they continued walking. I wonder. A crowd of children and adults had gathered in front of the stage. Aiden raised his left hand and waved at the group. The crowd parted, revealing a gleaming white Pegasus. Amber and Liddy gasped and stood stock still as they watched its wings fan out. The crowd backed up and cheered. What the hell is that? Liddy whispered into Aiden's ear. To everyone here, it's an amazing spectacle. To me, it's just Marty. Marty? Who's Marty? Aiden nodded toward the Pegasus. That's Marty. So he's real? From another dimension, but yes, he is. You can't be bringing stuff here from other places, Liddy said like she was laying down the law. That's going too far. Couldn't you just conjure up a fake one? Marty loves kids' parties, Aiden said. I hardly ever get to invite him to anything. Most of my jobs aren't exactly Marty-friendly. He turned and gave Liddy a sad face. Do you really want to ruin this for him? I guess not, but Aiden, this is beyond ridiculous. Is it? Aiden pointed to Warren, who was approaching the Pegasus with Sylvia in her wheelchair. Sylvia was practically coming out of that chair, pointing and chattering excitedly at the sight of the winged horse. Look how happy your grandmother is. Look. Liddy watched Sylvia with a mix of fear and bewilderment. That thing could seriously hurt her, Liddy said. And look, Katie's trying to get on its back. Let's go help, Aiden said, and they jogged toward the group. Amber was several paces ahead of them, calling out to Katie to wait for permission. Aiden walked on down to the crowd and made a little speech to introduce everyone to his friend. Marty had asked Aiden beforehand to tell everyone that his name was Celestial Starbeam, so that's how Aiden introduced him. Liddy stood back a bit to take in the whole scene. She took a few pictures with her phone, including one of Warren helping Sylvia stand long enough to give Marty a hug. It was a moment that Liddy would later describe as weird and wonderful. After his brief talk, Aiden waved to Liddy. Now that we've met our new friend, what do you say we get this magic show underway? Everyone cheered and took their seats. Marty approached the front of the stage and stood tall, shaking his mane and fluffing out his wings. Liddy, shall we? Liddy took a deep breath. I reckon we shall, she muttered as she exhaled. Chapter 53. Have you ever been up on a stage in front of a bunch of people? It's surreal, or it was for me that day. I was nervous at first, but Aiden has a way of making things either so fun or so weird, or both, that you forget all about being nervous pretty quickly. We turned our jackets inside out to show the green sequins. They sparkled in the sunshine and looked great. What am I supposed to be doing? I whispered to Aiden. Just stand there for now, he said, holding the microphone away from us as we spoke. He then moved it back up closer to his mouth. Look at this beautiful crowd here today. Ha, you sound like Pastor Faust at the beginning of a church service, I said. He winked at me. Everybody came here in their green, he said to the crowd. It's so nice. Give yourselves a hand. The crowd applauded. Marty did a weird little bow like he thought they were clapping for him. I wondered how he'd react if I jumped down onto his back from the stage, but I fought the urge to actually do it. And to Miss Katie, Aiden continued, we are all so honored and happy to be here today to celebrate you. Congratulations on winning the Page Street Elementary School Spelling Bee. Look up. We all looked up. The sky was filled with clouds, and every cloud was shaped like a different letter of the alphabet. They were all jumbled up. I remember a few people trying to sound it out like it was a word puzzle or something. How'd he do that? I heard someone say. It's a trick. No, it had to be a skywriter, but I haven't seen any planes fly over. How? Ta-da! Aiden said into the microphone. It's magic, isn't it, Liddy? He held the microphone near me. It sure is. When it comes to real magic, Aiden's the best. I spotted Jerry coming over the bridge and gestured in his direction. Aiden nodded. We also can't forget to say a special thank you to the man who made all of this possible, Aiden said to the crowd. I've never met anyone so hardworking, so selfless, so talented, and so generous in my life. Jerry McAvoy, come on down. Everyone cheered for Jerry. He stopped in front of the tortoise enclosure, truly shocked by the scene. He stood there for a long time, taking it all in. The big turtles, the stage, the cheering crowd, Marty, all of it. I guess it was pretty overwhelming to get hit with all that at once. Amber and Katie ran up to Jerry and gave him a hug. They led him over to some seats in the front row that were reserved for the three of them. He still looked really confused, but happy. Amber sat down beside him and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek. It's so great to be here, Aiden said. I have to admit, though, I feel a bit underdressed. Don't you, Liddy? No, I'm fine, I said. He grinned at me. Let's see what we can do about it. With a flourish and a big puff of smoke, we suddenly appeared before the crowd in completely different clothes. It startled me as much as it did the people watching. I jumped back and let out a little shriek. Oh, you don't like it? Aiden said. We were now both wearing green lame jumpsuits and silver platform boots. I felt like one of the village people. Aiden turned away from me. Fine, he said, flicking his right hand over his left shoulder. My outfit changed again in a flash of light that shot across the stage. I looked down. The jumpsuit and boots were gone, and they'd been replaced by a long white gown with flared sleeves and white feather trim. On my feet were the coolest gold-flocked boots you ever saw. I still have them to this day. He looked back over his shoulder at me. Better? I smiled and gave him a thumbs up. But, it's still missing something, he said, turning to face me. I know. He approached me and gently ran his hands from my shoulders down to my arms. It gave me bona fide chills. There. The audience said, "Aw," and started clapping. I had no idea what Aiden had done until I went to move and then felt something on my back. Is this? I felt behind my back. Did you put angel wings on me? He smiled one of the biggest smiles I have ever seen on his face. They suit you, he said. Don't they, audience? They cheered. He stood there for a moment like he was lost in thought. After a minute, he turned back and looked at me again as if he was seeing me for the first time. My favorite angel, he said quietly. My nervousness was coming back. I grabbed the microphone. Thank you. Okay, Aiden, on with the show. Oh dear, I've made her self-conscious. Should I? Liddy, do you want me to divert everyone's attention? That would be great, actually. One diversion coming up. He turned his back to the crowd and appeared to be turning something over and over in his hands. I was about to ask what he was doing when he suddenly whirled around and cast a handful of purple powder up in the air. It somehow went straight up above us all and spread out like a big ceiling. The sun shone down through it, casting a lavender glow on the crowd. the stage, Marty, everything. People started getting up from their seats and freaking out a little bit. Aiden lifted his left arm and swept it back and forth a few times, and everybody seemed to calm back down. The way the people turned and went back to their seats almost looked like a ballet. "Katie, can you come down front, please?" Aiden said. He met her on the ground next to Marty and then knelt down in front of her. "Would you like that ride now?" Her eyes were wide. "Oh, on Celestial Starbeam? Of course!" She started jumping up and down and clapping. "Yes, yes, yes, thank you!" "Jerry, why don't you come help this young lady up?" Aiden said, and Jerry did. I saw Amber take a picture of the scene. Take a moment and fully appreciate Aiden's sales techniques. I was starting to understand why so many people took his deals. He's mesmerizing. Aiden held Jerry's arm and slowly took a few steps back. He looked out at the crowd. "Let's see Celestial Starbeam fly." Celestial Starbeam, flapped his wings a few times, took several steps forward, and was then airborne with Katie on his back, holding onto his mane and squealing with delight. They broke through the purple ceiling, and it cracked, falling down over the audience in tiny soft pieces like confetti. Everybody went wild. I stood there on the stage like a fool with my mouth hanging open. "That was the most kick-ass thing I've ever seen," I said to nobody. Katie enjoyed her flight for several minutes before she was returned safely to the ground. Aiden personally escorted her back to her seat. "How beautiful," he said into the microphone as he walked back up on stage. He turned and looked out at the crowd. "Everyone here is so beautiful. Give yourselves a hand." People went to clap, but all we heard was a muffled sound. Everyone looked down and saw that they had plush unicorn mittens on their hands. They gasped. A few pulled the mittens off and examined them, confused. "How'd he do that? That's crazy!" I laughed and whispered to Aiden, "There's something cool about seeing other people react to the wild stuff you do." He looked over at me and gave me this weird, oddly exciting smile. It gave me butterflies in my stomach. Everything about that magic show was brilliant. He went on to do some lovely illusions with guests, changing their hair color, making them sing like a bird, and even giving them a green sloth to pet. People were blown away by his talent, wondering what his secrets were. If they only knew. Secrets. Not telling me the whole truth. What did Grandma say earlier? She said Aiden needed to be honest with me. That thought popped into my mind at one point while Aiden was spinning someone around on stage with sparks flying from their body. I have no idea what he was doing. Grandma's words overtook everything else. After the magic show was over, a bunch of the guests enjoyed playing games and making crafts at various stations set up in the area. After having Aiden change me back into my original outfit, I went over to Grandma and Grandpa to see what they were going to do. Grandpa said they were going to get some cotton candy and go pet the big tortoises. Aiden walked up just then. He nodded at me and smiled. "Hey, Warren," he said, "how about you go fetch that cotton candy? Lydia and I would like to take another stab at talking with Sylvia." Grandpa looked down at Grandma in her wheelchair. "Just keep in mind that she's had a big day," he said to us. "This is way more stimulation than she's used to. I'm honestly surprised she's handled it as well as she has. But, okay, if you think it'll work. It's worth a try," I said. After Grandpa left, I looked over at Aiden. "Do you think this is a good idea?" I asked. "I know you weren't happy with our last attempt," he said. "I want to try again. You deserve a good memory with your grandmother." "I do have memories," I said. "She and Grandpa raised me and my brother from the time I was 8. "Oh, I know. I just mean, we never know when we'll see someone for the last time. I want this to be positive for your sake and hers." "I don't have long, do I?" she said to Aiden earlier. "Do you mean to tell me she's..." I put my hand up to my mouth. "Oh, God." "Liddy, no." He grabbed my hands. "Don't get upset. I don't mean that. Can we try again and see what happens?" I took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. "Okay," keeping in mind that I have no idea what she'll say. Understood. We both knelt down in front of Grandma's wheelchair. I took her left hand, and Aiden took her right. Again, she instantly perked up. Her eyes widened, and she sat up straighter. She turned to me and asked, "Where's Richard?" "Oh, Grandma, he's not here. He moved to Atlanta. Remember? That was a few years back." She smiled and nodded, but didn't say anything. But he said he's definitely coming for Thanksgiving," I added. That'll be great." She looked over at Aiden and frowned. I won't be here," she said to him. "We don't know that," he said, rubbing her forearm with his free hand. "Nobody knows." "You know," Grandma said very firmly. "Only the shadow knows." She grinned at him. "You're the shadow, a shadow man." "I'm just here with Liddy," Grandma chuckled. "You sure are." "How about you ask Liddy how she's doing?" Aiden said. "Just forget I'm here." She looked back at me. "How have you been?" "I'm good. Still working for the magazine and doing greeting cards and stuff for the pest control people." She squeezed my hand. "You work too much. You've always pushed yourself too hard. When's the last time you took a break?" I glanced over at Aiden. "I'm taking one now, actually. I haven't done much in a couple of weeks." "Well, don't slack off too much." I laughed. "I can't win with you. First you say I work too hard, then I tell you I'm taking a little time off, and then you start worrying that I'm too lazy." She sat back a bit and shook her head. "No, I know I don't need to worry about that. You never could sit still. You'll never be the lazy type because it'd drive you crazy." She looked back at Aiden. "You should have seen her when she was little. She'd just fidget. You know how I'd punish her?" Aiden was grinning. "How?" "I'd make her just sit in a chair and do nothing. It drove her crazy to have to just sit there. Worked better than a whipping ever could." Aiden busted out laughing. "I believe it. And Sylvia, she has not changed a bit." I rolled my eyes. "Ugh." She looked at me. "But Liddy?" "Yeah?" "You're a good girl. I'm so proud of you." That shocked me. She'd never said anything like that to me before. I laughed it off to hide the fact that I was tearing up. She leaned in. "No, you are. I'm so glad that I got to be a part of your life. You and Richard. You've both grown into good people. I hate that your mom and daddy aren't here to see it, but I know they're smiling down at you from heaven." She turned to Aiden. "Aren't they?" "They sure are," he said. I turned to Aiden and whispered, "Are they?" But he didn't respond. He kept his eyes on Grandma. "I'm glad you're my girl," she said to me. "Well, I'm glad you're my grandma." Hot tears were coming. I quickly wiped them away with my sleeve. I looked off in the distance and saw Grandpa licking cotton candy off his fingers. "I'm so glad y'all were here today for the party, too," I said to Grandma. "It's been a really good day." "We'll be heading home soon," Grandma said. "Liddy, you come here." She held on to Aiden's hand but let go of mine and grasped my shoulder. "Give me a hug." "Oh, I don't." Okay, this was unprecedented. I couldn't tell you the last time Grandma even attempted to give me a hug. Our family's just not the hugging type. Aiden moved back a bit, and I stood up enough to stoop down and try to hug her. "We can do better than that," Aiden said. "One moment." I watched as Aiden stood and then bent down close to her left ear. It looked like he either whispered something in her ear or blew a little puff of air in there. I couldn't tell what he was doing, but whatever it was, it made her giggle. "Oh, that tickles," she said. "Let's see how well you can stand," he said, and almost instantly she was on her feet. "Whoa!" She looked at me and we were both amazed. Grandpa came running over. "Sylvia, what are you doing?" "I have no idea," she said, and she nodded at Aiden. "It's the shadow man, and I feel great." Aiden discreetly reached for my hand and squeezed it. "Let her have a hug," he whispered to me. I gave Grandma a good long hug, and Grandpa did too. Then Grandpa hugged me. Then somehow we all mobbed Aiden and gave him an unexpected hug. He fought it for a few seconds, and then he just went with it. A few tears were shed, at least for my part. It was a love fest. A fantastic moment in the midst of an unforgettable day. Chapter 54. Liddy went with Warren to load a few things in the car while Aiden stayed with Sylvia. She was again seated in her wheelchair with Aiden beside her. "Would you like to go see the tortoises?" Aiden asked her. "Nah, I can see 'em from here. It's crowded over there anyway." Aiden looked down at her and lightly brushed a little leaf off her shoulder. She reached up and grabbed his hand as soon as she felt it. "Come back down here, magic man," she said with a little smile. "Hold my hand again." He did as she asked. Clear-eyed, she studied his face. "You have a good heart," she said. "I can see that about you." Aiden smiled and looked down. He shook his head slightly. "Not as good as you may think." "Oh, psh, stop it. You know what I did one time?" "What?" She leaned forward a bit and whispered, "I stole an entire rotisserie chicken from the deli at Harris Teeter." She held back a laugh and her eyes were shining. "I stuffed it up under my coat and waddled right out the door just to see if I could get away with it." "Sylvia, I'm shocked." "I did it." She started laughing. "Well, we all did things in the past we're not proud of. I'm sure you've repented." "The hell I did. They shorted me $10 on a gift card one time. That was my compensation right there." She sighed, with a little bit of laughter still trailing out. "I remember you. From the church." "You do?" "We met the day Warren and I arrived. I wasn't sure you took care of all that, didn't you?" "All that?" "The stuff with Pastor Faust. That was you, wasn't it?" "Yes, it was." She touched his face gently. "You did good. I did what I had to do." Aiden grasped her hand a bit tighter and held her gaze. "Sylvia, I want to thank you for everything you've done for Liddy. You and Warren both. I appreciate you both for being there for her when she really needed you. Thank you so much." A breeze swept across the path, scattering leaves at their feet. Sylvia felt a slight chill in the air. "Fall's coming," she said, seeing Warren and Liddy headed back their way. "Aiden, tell me. Tell you... If you really appreciate me, tell me." "I'm not supposed to meddle in human affairs," Sylvia snorted. "Bullshit. Tell me." "You want to know how long you have." She leaned forward. "Will I make it to Thanksgiving?" Aiden glanced up at Liddy and Warren, who were still a ways off. He turned back to Sylvia and nodded. "Christmas?" He shook his head slowly. "I'm so sorry, Sylvia." She paused and then sighed. "Okay. So no Christmas. Okay. Thank you. At least I know. It's okay." "I wish I could change that," Aiden said. "Some things are beyond my control." She looked up at him and held his gaze. "You take care of Liddy. You hear?" "Always. I can promise you that." "And you look in on Richard when you can, too." "Of course." She sighed again and smiled wearily. "You can let me go now." Aiden brought her hand up to his lips and kissed it gently. "It's been a pleasure, Sylvia." He placed her hand back in her lap, and the light left her eyes just as Liddy and Warren approached. She stared up at both of them as if they were strangers. Chapter 55. It was such a treat getting to see Grandma and Grandpa. They were the last two people I expected to see that day. Anything is possible when Aiden's around, though. Most of the time, the surprises are pretty dang awesome. Jerry and Amber left with Katie to go over the bridge to the park, and Aiden said that we should head back over to the area where the magic show took place. I thought for a minute that there might be some cleaning up to do, but then I remembered who was in charge. Sure enough, we got over there and everything was gone. The stage, the chairs, the props, everything. All that was left was a blanket on the ground under two big oak trees. "Whose is that?" I said, pointing to the blanket as we approached. "I put it there," Aiden said. I turned to look at him, and he had a picnic basket on his arm. Are we doing a picnic? Sure, why not? I've never actually been on a picnic before, I said. Aiden smiled. I know. They always seem to me like they'd be more trouble than they're worth. He set the basket down on the blanket and sat next to it. We'll start out slow, he said. Just snacks. Maybe we could do a full meal at some point in the future. Come have a seat. He patted the spot on the blanket next to him. I sat down slowly, feeling under the blanket for tree roots or rocks. It was smooth and lovely. It's been a crazy day, I said. Honestly, I'm not all that hungry right now. That's okay. He pulled an ice-cold bottle of Cheerwine out of the basket. How about something to drink? Oh, thanks. I opened it up and tasted it. That's perfect. We had cheese and crackers and discussed the party. Aiden said that it worked to smooth things over between Amber and Jerry, so as far as he was concerned, it was a success. He said that Jerry's insecurity was his biggest problem, but he hoped that seeing Amber so happy at the party would give him a boost of confidence. I laid back on the blanket and looked up at the branches and sky overhead. Thank you for what you did for me today. Aiden scooted the basket over and laid down beside me. What did I do? Oh, come on. My grandparents just happened to show up here. Get real. I looked over at him and saw his smile. He glanced at me, then looked back up at the sky. You're welcome, Liddy. They're wonderful people. I'm glad you had them in your life when your parents died. They did a great job raising you and your brother. Yes, they did. And thank you for letting me talk to Grandma. That was amazing. She's a sweet lady, Aiden said. You're going to see her for Thanksgiving, aren't you? Oh, yeah. She can't really do much, but Grandpa and I will make sure she has a nice dinner for her to enjoy for Thanksgiving. I sat up on my elbow facing Aiden. You should come. My brother will be there, and I don't know who else, but you could meet some more of my family, maybe. I mean, do you think you'll still be here then? I could be getting ahead of myself. He reached over and lightly touched my shoulder. I have no way of knowing for sure how long I'll be with any particular person. He paused for a moment like he was considering something. But I'll do my best to stay as long as possible. In a way, it's really up to Jerry. Depending on how he behaves, I could be here for quite a while. If he breaks the rules or goes astray, though... I sat up and looked over in the direction of the bridge leading to the playground, placing my fingers on my temples. What are you doing? Aiden asked. I'm sending positive vibes over to Jerry so he doesn't screw anything up. I didn't think you liked Jerry. Oh, I don't. He sucks. But if his behavior determines how long I get to hang out with you, I want him to be as good as possible. Let that scumbag live a long time. Aiden let out a breathy, quiet laugh. It's probably the closest thing to a loving statement you'll ever utter when it comes to Jerry, he said. I laid back down and raised my arms over my head, feeling for Aiden's hand. I cradled my head in my left hand and grasped his left hand with my right. His hand was soft but strong. I loved the feel of it. We laid there for a bit, listening to the birds and watching the clouds float by overhead. Aiden squeezed my hand. I often ask people I work with about their time here on Earth, he said. I ask them what they enjoyed the most. I ask them what they'll miss. He looked over at me. What about you? What I enjoyed the most and will miss? The people in my life, definitely. But you seem so isolated. Yeah, but that doesn't mean there aren't people out there that I care about. My grandparents, my brother, having them in my life, even if I don't see them or talk to them every day, it makes me happy. I know they're out there. They're there for me, and I'm here for them whenever they need me. I just hope they know that. They do, Aiden said. They love you very much. We don't talk about feelings and mushy stuff, I said, feeling a hot tear in the corner of my eye. We've never been a touchy-feely sort of family, but I really do care about them. I'm glad to hear that, Aiden said. It was your first thought with no hesitation. Well, yeah. What's life without the people in it? I figured out a long time ago that the meaning of life is the people you love and the people who love you. No matter how bad it gets or what you have to go through, you know that the people who really matter will always be there for you. So you think people are really special, huh? They're all that matters here, I said. When I was a kid, I used to dream about being rich, with a huge mansion and horses and a pool, and fancy cars and everything. I don't really think about that stuff anymore. If I had it, I'd give it all up in 1 second to help Grandma get better. I'd rather have her back like she used to be than have all the money and stuff in the world. Aiden sat up and looked at me. His eyes were shining and he had this little smile on his face. I sat up too. Now hang on, I said. I wasn't trying to make a deal or anything. Grandma would be pissed if I sold my soul. He laughed. No, I'm not about to propose a trade. Just hearing you say that makes me happy, that's all. I laid back down. Okay, don't get any ideas about tricking me into something. I never trick anybody. They go into it with their eyes wide open. That still blows my mind. I know you've explained it all before, but I still find it hard to believe that many people trade their soul for temporary shit here on Earth. You'd lose any faith you had in humanity if you knew how high my success rate was. Maybe you're just a hell of a salesman, I said. I'm not the only one. I thought about it and shuddered. Ugh, I'm sure you're not. How about we change the subject? Aiden stretched and reached into the basket. He pulled out a bag of giant marshmallows and showed it to me. Ooh, can I have one? He opened the bag and handed me one. I stuffed the whole thing in my mouth at once. How about this, Aiden said. What else will you miss about life on Earth? What are the other good things? Marshmallows, I managed to say with a mouthful. I swallowed it before attempting to say anything else. Animals. I love cats. And dogs, but not the yappy ones. I'm sorry, but they're just annoying. Hitting all the green lights, giving presents. Seeing a random baby smiling at me in the grocery store. Naps are awesome. Funyuns. Aiden laughed. What? Funyuns are the best. I just didn't expect that. Funny stuff that comes out of nowhere and makes you laugh, I said. That's another good thing. Hey, Aiden. I sat back up. Do all these things, are there going to be good things after I die, or is this it for me? He took my right hand and held it in both of his. I can't answer that, he said. You know I can't tell you anything related to your death or anything that may or may not come after it. I fluttered my eyelashes and smiled. Sure would be great if you did. He suddenly reached back in the bag, grabbed a marshmallow, and crammed it in my mouth. Hey, I tried to say. He just laughed. We briefly discussed the upcoming hippie-themed party after I was able to talk again. It sounded like a lot of fun, and I was looking forward to wearing my outfit. A lot of big-name people were on the guest list. If I were Jerry, I'd be so nervous I'd probably die. We spent a bit of time seeing images in the clouds. I think Aiden was cheating because those were some of the most distinct and defined clouds I have ever seen. It was fun, though. We were watching a poodle-shaped cloud pass by when I had a thought. Aiden? Uh-huh. If you could trade your soul to the devil for anything, what would it be? No one has ever asked me that before. Really? Nobody? My soul doesn't quite work that way. I know, it's just a hypothetical. He sighed. I don't think I want to answer that. But you do have an answer, I said, don't you? He looked at me. I do. I brushed my hand over his cheek. I'm not trying to ruin the mood. If it upsets you, just forget I asked, okay? There's a lot you don't know, Liddy. I'm sure there is in you, but just because I can't tell you doesn't mean you don't deserve to know. That's confusing, I said. He laid back on his elbows. Let's leave that alone, he said. I can tell you this. If I could trade my soul to stay here with you, just like this, I'd be very tempted to do it. Chapter 56. Things seemed to calm down between Amber and Jerry. He had her accompany him in an interview on Good Morning America to discuss his new book and upcoming art premiere. That was Aiden's suggestion. Jerry was excited for the dinner party coming up that weekend. Aiden arrived at Jerry's apartment to find Amber looking through books of fabric swatches at the dining room table. "What's all this?" he asked her. She held up a nice purple paisley. "I'm helping Jerry design his hippie outfit for Saturday. It's just, none of this really looks like him, you know?" Aiden ran his hand along a selection of brown corduroy, perhaps something a bit more understated. He might prefer just plain corduroy pants and an orange shirt. Better yet, jeans, bell-bottoms, and an orange shirt, and a corduroy blazer. "You mean the kind with the patches on the elbows?" "If you like. That look cool. And shoes?" Aiden stared off in the distance. "Converse, canvas shoes. Either that or leather boots." "Boots," Amber said. "Cowboy boots?" "Yeah, but nothing too elaborate or crazy." "Consider it done," Aiden said with a smile. "Do you have your outfit picked out?" "Liddy said I should try that aardvark place, but I haven't made it out there yet. I've been too busy with work and helping get everything ready here." He looked at her for a moment and then said, "Come with me. I happen to have a few items in the guest bedroom closet that you might like." He glanced at her figure again. "I bet any of them would fit you perfectly." Amber turned away from the swatches to face him. "Why would Jerry have a bunch of somebody else's clothes in a closet here?" Aiden shook his head and smiled. "It's not what you think. I brought them here." "But for who?" "Let's just say that I like to be ready for anything. There's no funny business going on. Trust me. Jerry would do literally anything for you. I hope you know that." "That party for my niece was amazing," she said. "Nobody's ever done anything like that for me." Aiden smiled. "I'm glad you liked it. Come with me and I'll show you the outfits." Amber selected a long white flowing dress with a braided gold belt and matching sandals. She held the dress up in front of herself and admired it in a large mirror. "A turquoise necklace would be really pretty with this," she said. "Turquoise? Huh. Check the top drawer of that dresser to your left. You may find one in there that you like." She opened the drawer and gasped. "Oh, I've never seen anything like it." She lifted a turquoise and silver choker out of the drawer and then gently closed the drawer, not taking her eyes off the piece. She handled it delicately, studying every detail. "It's heavier than it looks," she said. "This is no cheap piece of costume jewelry. Where'd you get this? Is it yours?" Aiden stepped closer and took it from her. He could tell that she was reluctant to let it go. "I made it," he said. "You? Really? I didn't know you made jewelry. Did you design it yourself?" He gestured for Amber to turn toward the mirror. He stood behind her and placed the choker on her neck. She reached up and felt the stones with her fingertips as he clasped it securely in the back. "I love to create beautiful things," he said. They both stood for a moment in silence, looking at the necklace in the mirror. Beautiful things for beautiful people, inside and out. She stared in the mirror. Aiden moved a few steps away. "We've never really had much of an opportunity to talk," he said. "How are things going? Do you still work at Macy's?" "I do," she said. "It's hard to balance my work schedule with everything Jerry has going on some weeks." They returned to the dining room and had a seat at the table with all the fabric samples. Aiden thumbed through a small binder of swatches. "Jerry would do anything to make you happy or make your life easier," he said without looking up. "Do you know that?" "I mean, what do you mean by literally anything?" "You mean the world to him. If you ever wanted, he could easily take care of all your financial obligations. You could quit that job." She quickly stood up from the table and walked away a few steps. No, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I've always been really independent. I wouldn't want to have to rely on anybody to that extent. It's scary to even think about giving somebody else that much power over my life. It wouldn't be like that, Aiden said. She looked over at him, absent-mindedly touching her cheek. What sort of relationship do you have with him? She asked. How do you two know each other? And what is it that you do? I don't mean to be nosy, but you seem to have a lot of free time to just hang out. Are you like his assistant or something? What field do you work in? I'm in sales, Aiden said. And yes, you could say that I'm Jerry's assistant, for the time being anyway. He paused with a hint of a smile. Until his contract ends. You're just a jack of all trades, she said. You plan parties, you make jewelry, you're in sales. Is there anything you can't do? Yes, he said, unfortunately. You'll be at the party, right? She asked, with Liddy. Yes, we'll be here. If you need anything before or during the party, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here for you as well as Jerry. So is Liddy, should I take this necklace off? No, Aiden said. You keep that. It looks beautiful on you. She touched it gently with her fingertips. No, I can't keep this. It's way too expensive. Please, I want you to have it. She smiled with a bit of hesitation. Thank you, Aiden. I promise I'll take good care of it. You were about to ask me something? Oh, she said. Just tell me if I'm getting too personal, but is Liddy... What are y'all? Boyfriend, girlfriend? We're just really good friends, Aiden said. We have a history. Ah, history. I get it. Well, you seem really happy together. Are y'all dressing up? He laughed. She's making sure of it, so there's no hope of getting out of it. Chapter 57. Jerry was attending a poker tournament at Pure Platinum that afternoon. Everything was running smoothly, as it always was. Aiden was a master at balancing a person's greatest desires with just enough work and responsibility that it felt real, like it was earned. He deserved that business. He did nothing to conceive and craft it, but he had just the right amount of stuff on his to-do list to make it all seem bona fide. He was walking down the corridor to one of the restrooms when a woman caught his eye. Who was she? He didn't remember interviewing her. He insisted upon personally screening all club entertainers, but she certainly did look right at home there. She was lounging on a velvet sofa, brushing her long, wavy auburn hair. Good afternoon, she said in a lovely voice. It made Jerry immediately think of Lauren Bacall. Like velvet, he thought. Good afternoon, he said. Have you gotten lucky? Gotten what? He felt himself blushing. She rose to her feet, leaving the brush on the seat behind her. The poker tournament, she said. Aren't you playing? Oh! Jerry started straightening his shirt and smoothed his hair back. No, I'm not playing. I'm not much of a gambler. She approached. Jerry admired her white silk dress. It was slit just far up enough to let his imagination run wild. I'd say you gamble quite a bit, she said. You've paid a high price in the hopes of finding happiness, wouldn't you say? What do you mean? She looked around. I mean, this place must have set you back a pretty penny. What did you think I meant? Jerry laughed nervously. No, just, I figured that's what you meant. This place. Yeah. She went back and picked up the brush, then approached Jerry again. He stood still as a statue as she reached up and gently brushed his hair. He felt a tingling in his scalp that ran down his spine and made him weak in the knees. My name is Justice, she whispered in his ear. If you ever feel like taking some real chances, you know where to find me. She slipped a business card into his pants pocket. He immediately took it out to read it. Hey, this is for Pure Platinum, he said, confused. He looked up, hoping to get an answer, but she was gone. Chapter 58. I never get tired of seeing Aiden dressed differently. He wears suits most of the time. He says he feels more comfortable in them. but he's willing to wear other stuff when the situation calls for it. On the evening of the dinner party, we were at my house getting our hippie outfits on. He was taking forever in the bathroom. I think he was avoiding coming out. "Hey," I said through the door. "Yes." "Why didn't you just blink an outfit together?" "What, like I Dream of Jeannie?" "Yeah." He paused and said he'd have missed out on the fun of going to the Angry Aardvark with me if he'd have done that. I covered the smile on my face with my hand, though nobody was out there with me to see it. "I've got my stuff on," I said. "Are you ever coming out? We need to go soon." He came out and did a turn so I could see how it looked. "Perfect," I said. "Do we need to bring anything?" "It's a bit chilly out," he said. "We didn't think to look for jackets or coats in the store." "My face was ripped," I said. That kind of brought our shopping adventure to a screeching halt. Aiden had a pained look on his face. "I remember," he said. He was at a loss for words. He just stood there looking around like he was afraid of something. "Are you okay?" I asked. "You look like you're turning pale." He held my arm and leaned toward me slightly. We need to go." "I think you need to sit down," I said, and I led him over to the sofa. He didn't fight it, and he sat down with me. "I'd say you need to go to the doctor, but, do angels have doctors? Y'all don't exactly have medical conditions, do you?" He leaned forward and rested his elbows on his knees. "No, we have advisors, but typically..." He started rubbing his face with his hands. "Here," I said. "Hold on to me like you did that one time. Hold my hands." He grabbed my hands. "The party," he said. "The party can wait. It's fine. Jerry won't even miss us." "He will if there's a problem." "We'll get there," I said. "It'll be okay. The world won't end if we're fashionably late." "I was going to surprise you." He stopped like he couldn't breathe, which makes no sense, I know, but he just acted like he was out of breath at that moment. "Don't try to talk," I said. "Hold on to me. I don't know what it does, but it seemed to help last time." "Talk to me," he said. "You promise not to try to answer?" "I promise." "You just broke your own promise," I said. He smiled a little and shook his head. "Starting now." "Okay. I know what I'll talk about. I'll tell you the story of my ever-evolving opinion of you. Sound good?" He just looked at me. "Good. You passed the test. No talking." I felt him squeeze my hands. "All right. We have to go way back to the very beginning in the Hardee's parking lot. You remember that?" Dang, that feels like it was 100 years ago. I stopped, feeling a flush in my cheeks. He looked up at me with a twinkle in his eye. "Okay, I'll just say it. I thought you were hot. I remember thinking you looked like a surfer, and your teeth were so nice you could do toothpaste commercials too. And then later in Dalton Fisher, when I met you in the form of a little boy, I don't mind telling you that was creepy. Well, confusing at first and then creepy. It'd be cool if you just keep the same form from here on out." He nodded at me. "So I got to know you as Pastor Faust's assistant, and you asked me to write his biography. I remember feeling super intimidated by the thought of doing that because I was such a new member of the church, but you helped ease my mind and feel more comfortable. But then, I had to talk to people and see awful stuff. You slowly helped me understand what Pastor Faust really was and what sort of book you really wanted me to write. That was awful, but not anywhere near as awful as learning." A hot tear welled up in my eye and I wiped it away. Aiden looked at me with concern, but gestured for me to continue. "Well, I learned first that you were an angel, which was hard enough to really understand. But then for you to tell me you were an agent of Satan? Oh, God." I wiped my eyes on my sleeve. I wasn't ready for that. I don't think I would have ever been ready to hear that. It was so scary. I was scared of you after hearing that. Like Satan? Satan's little helper? That's not the kind of entity a human ought to be around. I never expected to have to deal with that in a church, but then again, I never expected to have to deal with all the other crazy shit that went on there either. Everything was messed up in that place. Aiden seemed to be getting more tense, like I was upsetting him with the things I was saying, so I changed my tune a little bit. "But you kept coming around," I said. "You kept doing and saying things that reminded me of why I liked you so much in the first place. I realize that you're not a bad guy. I don't fully understand everything about you or why you chose to follow Satan or whatever, but you're not a bad person, Angel. You know what I mean." I looked over at him. He was smiling. "Are you feeling better?" He nodded. "Like back to normal?" "I think I'll be okay, Liddy. Thank you." He rose slowly, stood there for a moment, and then assured me that everything was fine. "You said you have a surprise for me?" "I do." He walked over to my coat closet and opened the door. I gasped when I saw what was in there. He pulled out a dark brown shearling coat. "No way!" I lunged at it and took it off the hanger. It's like that coat Jenny had on in Forrest Gump. I've been looking for a coat like this for years." "Try it on," he said, but I was already halfway into it. "I love it." I looked at myself in the mirror. "It goes great with my outfit, too." "Thank you so much." I gave him a big hug and he tensed up. "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay? I probably shouldn't have done that with you not feeling well. Do you have a coat?" He pulled a brown fringed suede coat out of the closet. "This is for me." I watched him put it on. He seemed to be in good spirits, but something wasn't quite right. He looked fragile, uncertain. I don't know, but something was off. We left for the party. He was pretty quiet on the way there. "Are there going to be performers at this thing?" I asked. "Performers?" "Yeah, like somebody doing henna tattoos or magic tricks." "Magic is my thing," he said. "Well, yeah, but will there be anything, or do we just get to listen to Jerry talk about how great he is all night?" "Whatever happens," Aiden said, "I promise you it'll be memorable." And we're going to stop right there. And when we come back, we will pick up with chapter 59 of this story. Chapter 59. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little section, this little segment of the story today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon.